Gunna is free! But wait, there's more, because we already knew this information that allegedly, actually factually, we saw a video that Gunna has finally been released from jail after he copped a plea deal with the cops, and that they said he's going to serve 5 years, although 1 has already been served, given him and Young Thug and the other YSL members have already been in prison, and the other 4 years will be served in special conditions in which he'll just serve 500 hours or so of community service. But you know, with rappers, they just gonna, you know, pay off the cops a little something. But still, not a bad deal if you ask me, although I already know the internet is going to tear Gunna to shreds, saying that he snitched on the whole gang for a Krabby Patty. And I understand, because, you know, SpongeBob be whipping up them patties like it's Kylie Jenner's ass cheeks. But this actually isn't the first time that they've called Gunna a snitch, because remember, in the past he was on Crime Stoppers or whatever TV show it was. And as we all know, when you're a rapper, you have to play by a certain set of rules, given that it's so affiliated with gang culture. And so if you snitch, you basically ruin your entire career. Now, I'm sure he still gets streams here and there and be profitable, but Gunna is one of the top rappers in the game. So we'll see in the next coming months what happens or how the fans react to this new information, because right now Young Thug remains in jail. So hopefully he can take some sort of plea deal as well, but we'll see what type of timing he's on, for he is quite literally King YSL, or whatever the Atlanta DA said. He owns the YSL label, so now they're gonna say he is the gang leader. But as I mentioned before, Gunna has been released after pleading guilty to the RICO charge. That's how they get you, y'all. Gunna didn't even really do anything other than wear a YSL chain and rep them in song lyrics, and all of a sudden they're taking him to jail. How many times do you think that his tushy was infiltrated, y'all? I would be snitching on everybody. But here's where it gets interesting, in that the rapper entered a negotiated plea known as an Alfred plea, in which a defendant doesn't admit he committed the crime, but acknowledges that it is in his best interest to plead guilty. The charge Gunna faced was 1 count of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corruption Act. So basically, on the surface, Gunna didn't want to say that he did anything. He doesn't want to admit, but he'll take the plea to appease the cops and the Atlanta DA so that they can just get off his back and probably get less years in prison. And from the looks of it, he's getting out right now. But he released 2 separate statements which kind of contradict each other, in that firstly he says, while I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way. Essentially saying, bro, I ain't snitch, because that's going to be the first question they say when somebody gets out early and before everybody else in the case. Because again, Young Thug's still in there, so I'm gonna be like, why is he in there and you're not? But the reporters state, despite saying that he will not testify, it is a condition of Gunna's trial that he testifies if he is called, though he can claim the 5th Amendment. So he said he's not going to testify against anyone, but technically speaking, he still can be called upon, but he can just say nothing, claim the 5th. But as for the second statement, is where I already know people are going to say that he dry snitched, because he did sort of implicitly confirm some things were going on. In his statement Wednesday, Gunna said that when he joined YSL in 2016, he didn't consider it a gang, but more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who had common interests and artistic aspirations. My focus of YSL was entertainment, rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified urban life in the black community. The rapper swore that he has personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang, but seemed to distance himself from the YSL, the gang, versus YSL, the label. So he's saying some shit went down, y'all, but it wasn't me. But yo, if he didn't name any names, like, is that really bad? And low-key, this might have been the best thing that he could do, in that there were probably crimes on video wherein he basically had to say like, yeah, that happened, that person got robbed on the footage. And so if he blatantly lied, he'd probably get a worse sentence, and it would help nobody, because they already knew some shit went down. I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL, the gang, to the detriment of my community. Gunna acknowledged on the signed statement, YSL as a gang must end. So he's acknowledging that there is a gang behind the scenes, which may or may not be actually that bad, considering you can have a gang or a group of people. They could be a community doing free community service. A gang doesn't necessarily need to be doing crimes, although that is assumed, if you will. I also want to point out that Gunna didn't necessarily say this, but he just signed a statement that the court or police wrote for him. Gunna also attested in the plea deal that he was in the car with Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, when officers pulled him over and found hydrocodone, the Percocets, methamphetamine, and firearm inside. According to the plea agreement, Gunna claimed the gun and drugs weren't his. It's unclear if anyone else was in the car at the time. The cops gonna be like, okay, so if it's not Gunna's, only 2 of you were in the car, whose was it? I'm sure they were both popping the perkies though, but Young Thug probably also said it wasn't his, so that's not really snitching if you ask me. As for other YSL members, alleged YSL co-founder Walter Murphy also negotiated a plea deal in the indictment on Tuesday, and Young Thug remains in jail. His trial is set to start in January. Now, with all this going on, I'm hoping that Young Thug gets a plea deal as well. I feel like low-key Young Thug kind of sets the standards for the rap game as to what is considered snitching and what is not, you know, because they know he's a real G. And so if he kind of dry snitched like Gunna did in this document, then maybe that wasn't so bad, you know, like a little dry never hurt. Just put lube on it, you know what I'm saying? But again, we'll see how everybody reacts to this new information. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think about it. Is Gunna gonna get torn to shreds? Is Young Thug gonna get out of jail? It has been your boy Bobbalam signing off. Make sure to follow your boy on TikTok and my other socials. I'm trying to expand the brand, hire some people and whatnot, maybe even bring a co-host onto this YouTube channel for a podcast and shit. And of course, make sure to like and subscribe to the Bob Gang if you with it on YouTube. Peace out, people. Nothing.